I dazedly straightened my graduation gown and put on my cap in the mirror. Blake, who was smoking on the balcony, suddenly exclaimed, "Holy crap, so many roses. Someone's confessing, right? Looks like the campus bell." Leo, adjusting his mortarboard, sprinted over like a dog that smelled bones. "Where? Where?" Ryan followed, leaning out to look down, clicking his tongue. "It really is Sophia from journalism. She's that bold?" My heart lurched. My face in the mirror went dark, my brows unconsciously knitting. Sophia was my wife in my previous life. We'd been a devoted couple for 20 years, famed in literary circles. After she died when her breast cancer recurred, I collapsed mentally. In the 5th year after she left, grief consumed me. While sorting through her things, I found her diary and learned she'd left in a hurry to die with her 3-month lover Dylan. In extreme rage and pain, I had a heart attack, and when I opened my eyes, I'd gone back to the day I first met her. I hadn't expected to run into her confession. Dylan truly was her true love. No way. The campus bell is confessing to Ethan. Blake's cigarette fell in shock and burned Ryan's flip-flopped foot. They leapt around making fools of themselves. Leo teased me with a smirk. Ethan nice, hooked the campus bell, and none of us even noticed. I froze, suspiciously furrowing my brow as I walked toward the balcony. I don't know, Sophia. She couldn't be confessing to me. How could Sophia confess to me? At this point in time, we didn't even know each other. In the clearing below the dorm stood a huge heart made of roses, with my name spelled out in candles at the center. Ethan. It was a very trendy way to confess, but not something common folks would be doing in an era where the internet hadn't yet reached ordinary homes. I pressed my lips together and watched from afar as Sophia clutched the roses and tilted her head back, her eyes fixed on my dorm balcony. She had been reborn too. In the next moment, Sophia took a small megaphone out of her crossbody bag and shouted, "Ethan, senior-in-law, dorm 5 to 511, I like you. Ethan Sr., I like you." Blake and the others joined in with loud jeers. I put away the hatred in my eyes, looked down at Sophia, and replied coldly, "I don't know you, and I don't accept your confession. Thank you for your feelings." Sophia froze. The roommates who'd been making a spectacle quieted, their expressions stiff. Facing their astonished looks, I made up a casual excuse to brush her off. We've graduated, and she's only heading in her sophomore year. If we got together, it wouldn't last. Sophia didn't love me. She loved the connections behind me. Her handwriting in the diary had cut through everything, revealing the contempt and hatred she felt when I courted her. Ethan is disgusting. Does he think I can't tell he likes me? If it weren't for using his deputy director, Father Arthur, to fast-track me to host, breathing the same air as him would make me sick. In the 10th year of our marriage, she got breast cancer. In the diary she wrote, "I don't care if I die. If I could do it over, I'd rather not be a host and instead be with Dylan." That Sophia, who'd hated and looked down on me, had been reborn and now was confessing to me. But I'd been reborn too. I turned down Sophia's confession and didn't leave with Ryan and the others. I went downstairs by myself. Passing the Maple Grove in front of the women's dorm, I happened to notice someone delivering banners and instinctively followed. Sophia took the banner, then ran off like a gust of wind to use a payphone. I stayed in the shadows and heard her say, "Ethan's father is the deputy director at Star Television. Give me a year and I'll get into Star Television. Then I'll break up with him and be with Dylan." So that's it. She really didn't disappoint me. I knew Sophia hadn't cheated physically. After her breast cancer relapsed, she spent most of her time in the hospital, and she reunited with Dylan during chemotherapy. But isn't emotional cheating still cheating? If she didn't like me, she could have refused me outright. Instead, she used my resources and connections to climb to the top of life, then turned around to despise me, disgust me, resent me. What did I do wrong? Composing myself, I returned to the school gymnasium. 3 banners confessing to me were already hung in the VIP section. Sophia's voice blared through the loudspeaker across the gymnasium. "Ethan, senior from the law department. My name is Sophia. I like you." A public confession at graduation caused a sensation across the school. I curled my lip and, amid my classmates' gossiping stares and cheers, calmly took my seat. Sophia failed to intercept me in the gym and had the nerve to barge directly into my dorm room. Her eyes were red, tears brimming at the lashes, radiating a vulnerability and innocence that made it hard to be cruel to her. A few mischievous friends were making faces and enjoying the show. I studied Sophia mockingly for a moment, grabbed my bag, and headed downstairs. She trotted along after me. In my previous life, Sophia chose me as a stepping stone. In this life, she actually wants both career and love. I won't let her have her way. I'll make her taste the pain of being toyed with and betrayed. Senior Ethan, I really like you. This is a gift for you. Once downstairs, Sophia took a Mont Blanc 14K gold pen in a gift box from her crossbody bag and, eyes red, handed it to me. I'm sorry my confession caused you trouble. I was just afraid I wouldn't have another chance to see you. I looked down at the pen in the box and snorted, scoffing, You like me? How much do you like me? In my last life, that pen accompanied Dylan for 24 years. After he died, the pen was even buried with him as a grave offering. If I hadn't read her diary before being reborn, I'd almost certainly have been won over by her retreat into advanced tactic. Who could refuse a girl as pretty as a budding flower and full of vitality? Sophia hadn't realized I was reborn too. She sobbed as if her heart was breaking, tears nearly drowning that carefully prepared pen. That Mont Blanc 14K gold pen, priced at $5,300, would cost her about 2 semesters' living expenses. She had apparently been reborn earlier than I had. Without memories of the previous life, it wouldn't be easy for her to earn that sum through part-time work in a short time. I glanced at the time on my recently purchased Nokia 5110, impatiently said, Finished crying? Before today, I didn't even know you. Crying like that, people will think I'm bullying you. Sophia choked, her eyes reddened like a rabbit's as she looked at me, sobbing and nodding and then shaking her head. Sorry, let me introduce myself again. I'm Sophia. I like you. Could you give me a chance to pursue you? I gave her a meaningful look, then reached into my backpack, pulled out a hotel room key card, and handed it to her. Come see me tonight. This hotel belonged to my uncle. He left me the best suite. Last life, after Sophia joined Star TV, she stayed here often. Sophia was excellent, but she knew how to read the situation and maximize advantage. So of course she came. When I opened the door and saw her in my favorite white dress, her hair let down, I couldn't help lifting the corner of my mouth. She knew all my preferences. Senior, why aren't you going home? Is it because of work or something else? I don't mean anything by it. I'm just curious. Sophia followed me into the room, casually asking about my upcoming schedule. Because of you, I didn't go back. I smiled half seriously, half faking, then turned to take a shower. When I came out wrapped in a towel, the look on Sophia's face, calmly feigned from the moment she entered, flickered with surprise and disgust. She must have thought I'd still, like last life when I chased her, hand over good resources and connections all at once for a smile. Sophia made some lame excuse and left, but she left me a love letter. I pulled out a lighter and burned it, wanting everything but offering nothing. Did she think I was that cheap? I paid handsomely to hire a rookie reporter, Jake, who just joined a newspaper covering social news, to tail Sophia. When we went back to our alma mater to identify people, who would have thought we'd find Sophia confessing to Dylan? Through the blooming hibiscus, Sophia's voice came clearly. I don't like Senior Ethan. Confessing to him was a punishment for losing a bet with my roommate. The person I like is you. On the first day of school, you helped me carry my luggage upstairs, and I liked you from then. I just never had the courage to confess. I raised an eyebrow teasingly, signaling Jake to take photos and video. He was sensible, taciturn, efficient. He snapped away. We had barely left the school when Sophia bought flowers and rushed to Star TV to find me. She thought I worked there. But I was only there waiting for my childhood friend Mason to go eat and discuss the business direction of the venture company we were setting up. Around quitting time, Mason and acquaintances from Star TV started teasing. "Ethan, your luck with girls is here." I hardly know her. She's been shouting all over the place that she likes me and wants to chase me. The teasing grew louder. Sophia looked embarrassed and flustered, as if in a daze. She probably didn't expect that the me who loved her to the bone last life would give her no face this life. I ignored Sophia outright and dragged Mason to eat. Sophia didn't give up. She skipped class, waited outside Star TV every day, and kept calling my pager to ask me out. After she bought a Mont Blanc pen she couldn't afford a phone, she still used a pager. I refused her for over 10 days before magnanimously picking up her call. Working overtime just started. No rights. "Do you want to come keep me company? Working alone is so boring. I'm starving." There was a few seconds of quiet. Then Sophia's voice came again. "You're at Star TV, right? I'll buy you some late-night food and bring it over." "Thanks, Sophia. I thought you were joking when you said you liked me." I pulled a cigarette out, put it in my mouth, and watched the night with a calm heart. Sophia arrived quickly. I didn't let her into Star TV. After all, I wasn't actually working there. She looked hurt, but covered it well. "Senior, finish up and get some rest. I'll call you when I get back to school." Last life, she never had to endure this kind of grievance. I curled my lip in derision and waved her off. The next afternoon, a heavy storm hit. I deliberately paged Sophia. When she called back, I said my stomach hurt from hunger. She really showed up again, the irritation in her eyes almost impossible to hide. On the third day, I paged her just before midnight. When she came, her face looked awful. I took the chance to let slip that Shinchin TV was holding auditions for a female host at colleges. Sophia's smile brightened a little, and she even pretended to be shy as she secretly kissed me once. She brought me meals every day for a week straight. Sophia's wallet finally couldn't take it, and she made an excuse about being busy and stopped. The photos Jake sent showed Sophia and Dylan secretly holding hands while reading in the library, and them tightly embracing in a ginkgo grove at sunset. By day, she was sweet and clingy with Dylan, and at night, she still remembered to call me for long conversations. Her time management was excellent. After the summer break began, Dylan, as in his previous life, was spotted by a talent scout. The night before he left for Guangzhou, I unexpectedly got a call from Jake saying Sophia and Dylan had checked into a hotel together. I rang Sophia's pager twice in a row. When she called back, her tone was impatient. "Senpai, do you need something? I'm short a temporary on-camera host. Do you have time to come and audition?" I said, feigning urgency. Mason's show did need someone, but he'd already picked a candidate. Lila, that striking, poised senior who was Sophia's friend. In my past life, Lila had helped her get into Star TV, but once she started dating me, she immediately began suppressing Lila, and I finally stepped in and got Lila moved to another channel. Sophia dumped Dylan and rushed to Star TV, but she didn't pass the audition. She was devastated and drank a lot while eating supper. Pretending to be drunk, she cried to me, "Senpai, can you take me in? It's so scary to live alone in the dorm." I took her to the vintage courtyard I transferred to her last life. Slightly tipsy, Sophia climbed into my bed of her own accord. After Dylan finished the paperwork and flew out of Port City, an unrestrained Sophia hurried over with flowers and confessed again, "Ethan Senpai, I like you. Can I be your girlfriend?" I hesitated for a moment under her triumphant look, smiled and shook my head. "No, we haven't known each other long enough, and your pursuit is insincere." Sophia never expected me to refuse. Her face went deathly pale. After all, we just slept together a few days ago. I looked away and casually said, "I'm meeting friends for dinner tonight. Want to come?" Sophia quickly put her feelings away and smiled brightly. "Your friends must be really nice people. I'll come." She celebrated too soon. The people I took Sophia to meet weren't the contacts I'd introduced when I courted her last life, but a bunch of hangers-on. When we arrived at the restaurant, and she saw faces she'd never seen before, her smile froze. I ordered a bunch of spicy dishes I liked in one go. Her brow furrowed deeply. The months of practiced gentleness vanished. Ethan, I don't eat cilantro or spicy food. You know that. Why did you order so much spicy food? I snorted, tossed the menu onto the table, and frowned in displeasure. I don't know what you like. Sophia, have you forgotten? You're the one pursuing me now. In the past life, to protect her voice, she'd barely eaten spicy food and wouldn't even let me or the kids eat it. I love spice, but had foregone it for her for 20 years, even studying throat-friendly recipes for her. Yet in her diary, she'd written, "Anyone can do what a nanny does. Does he think he's great?" Moral blackmail is annoying. Sophia had never been yelled at by me before. Hearing that, she burst into tears. "Ethan, how can you treat me like this? You used to." "Used to what?" "Come on. Miss, I didn't even know you back then. You were the one pestering me relentlessly." "Okay." I cut her off impatiently. "If you don't want to eat, then leave. I never agreed to date you." Only then did Sophia finally realize she had been reborn. Now she was pursuing me for resources and connections, not me groveling after her like last time. She apologized with red eyes, then quickly pulled herself together and tried every way she could to appease me. I gave her no warmth and, using her ignorance as an excuse, began to deliberately ignore her. One weekend, I happily asked Lila to go hiking. Unexpectedly, Sophia was waiting at the foot of the mountain. Seeing us, she suddenly charged over and started cursing. "Lila, aren't you cheap? Stealing someone else's boyfriend." I positioned Lila behind me, leisurely exhaled a plume of smoke, and asked with amusement, "Sophia, in what capacity are you insulting people? As a junior? Or as my pursuer? I never agreed to date you from the beginning to the end. Sophia looked as if struck by lightning. The eyes that always treated me like a clown showed obvious panic and shock. Lila was also a little surprised, glanced at me, then at Sophia, and quietly said to me, "I'll go back first. You handle this slowly." I nodded and instructed, "Send me a text when you get there." Sophia stood there stunned. After a long while she came to, teary-voiced and hoarse as she asked me, "Ethan, you never liked me?" "Didn't like you, just played along." I didn't lose anything. I looked straight into her eyes and curled my lips mockingly. "Sophia, you don't actually like me, do you? You even need alcohol to numb yourself before sleeping with me. What exactly do you want from me?" Her last life had been too easy. I had glimpsed her at the graduation ceremony where she was the host and remembered her for 3 years. When I found out she had joined Star Television, I immediately launched a grand pursuit, relying on my father Arthur's position as deputy director at Star Television. In 2 years, I had pushed her into a highly popular show's host seat. She was sure I was the same lecherous fool as in her last life, and therefore took the initiative, believing she had it in the bag, only to suffer a Waterloo. My seeing through Sophia's intentions flustered her briefly. She quickly composed herself and, eyes red, confessed again, "Ethan, I really like you. I'm not lying. Truly flexible in posture. Perfect. I also wanted to see how far she can endure." I cold-shouldered her again. She kept quiet for a few days, then came to me proactively, cooking, cleaning, and being exceptionally passionate at night. I fully enjoyed her efforts while accelerating the establishment of Vanguard Internet Company and kept in touch with Lila. Returning to an era before the internet was fully open, there was so much I could do. Clearly, Sophia could have used her past life experience to live differently, but she chose the shortcut instead. After the summer, Dylan finished his performance class and returned from Port City. Sophia went to the airport to pick him up and that night checked into a hotel with him. When Jake sent the photos, his look at me was full of pity. "Bro, shall we switch girls? This one really won't do." "For sure change her. She really won't do." I paid him to keep following her. When news spread of Star Television's open audition for the new show's host, Sophia dumped Dylan, set up a candlelit dinner at the retro courtyard, and coquettishly pleaded with me like in her last life. "Everyone says this is a rare opportunity. I want to try for it." I nodded and encouraged her. "Then go for it. I believe you can be chosen." In a last life, she hadn't been selected for this show's host. Previously, she had told someone on the phone that within a year she'd be at Star Television. She must have had this chance in mind. There were 2 female host slots. One had long been predetermined. Sophia knew this, which is why she staked everything on me. With her professional skills from her previous life, if she had settled down and worked hard, she might well have had a chance to compete. But her heart couldn't calm down at all. Busy with Dylan while trying to keep me on the hook, hoping I'd reach out to help her like in the last life. That night when she sought intimacy, I refused her. I can accept a partner having an ex, but I absolutely won't share a bed with someone else. The host audition results came out quickly. Sophia advanced to the semifinals thanks to her outstanding image and professional ability. On the day of the semis, I showed up with Lila, while Sophia brought Dylan and her friend Chloe Davis. Seeing me conversing closely with Lila, Sophia almost lost control on the spot. I pretended not to see her. Most of the judges were acquaintances from Star TV. I had come with people they knew, so naturally they had to show some face to my father Arthur. Lila scored the highest. Sophia came in second. A hysterical Sophia stormed into my car and raised her hand to slap me, but I stopped her in time. She glared at me viciously and sobbed loudly. "Why did you help Lila?" "Ethan, aren't you the one who loves me the most?" I shrugged off her hand, took out a cigarette, and clamped it between my lips, clicked it lit, and blew smoke in her face, sneering, "Sophia, can you wake up for once? I only accepted your pursuit. I never agreed to date you. How could I possibly love you?" It had been almost half a year since my rebirth, and she still hadn't come to her senses. Sophia's crying cut off abruptly. Her eyes rolled back, and she actually fainted. In her last life, Sophia had a problem with low blood sugar. Every time she went out, I would put a few candies in her bag. Back then, she always said I was the best husband in the world. Actually, I was only her most useful tool. I just didn't know it at the time. When Sophia woke up in the hospital, she still didn't realize I had been reborn too. She confidently assumed I had rejected her because of Lila's interference. In the observation room, she loudly schemed with her best friend, Chloe Davis. "The finals are in half a month. Find someone to hold that bitch Lila back." She slept with Ethan and got first place in the semifinals. I shook my head helplessly and turned to leave. After Sophia was discharged, she came looking for me even more often. Of course, she didn't neglect Dylan either. Lila and I had just finished dinner and stepped outside when I spotted Sophia holding Dylan's hand and window shopping, laughing without a care. Lila hesitated a moment, then couldn't help laughing out loud. "Were you cuckolded?" "Something like that." I shrugged indifferently. "Strictly speaking, Sophia and I never dated. She's the one who's been pursuing me." "Then you're really unlucky." Lila laughed delightedly. "Actually, it wasn't so bad. In her last life, Sophia simply didn't love me. Her moral bottom line was still fairly high, and she never cheated. This life, she wanted to live differently. I didn't play the sycophant to satisfy her. I enjoyed what was good to enjoy and played where I wanted to play. Not a bad deal. After Sophia finished shopping with Dylan, she immediately called me to ask what I wanted for dinner. This life, she'd become my little housekeeper. Never one to cook, she had specially bought a cookbook and was learning to make food. "I want boiled fish. Do you know how to make it?" I didn't bother being polite. Sophia hesitated for a long time before answering. "Okay, I'll try." My Vanguard Internet company had already resumed normal operations and received some broadband installation orders, enough to pay the staff, so I could leave work earlier. Back at the retro courtyard, Sophia in a slip dress looked inexplicably seductive, but I felt no interest. The thought of her checking into a hotel with Dylan suddenly killed my desire to keep playing along with her. She could fall, but I still had a great life ahead. During this time, Jake took a lot of photos, Sophia and Dylan holding hands and walking at night, passionately kissing in deserted spots, even shots of them going into a hotel. 3 days before the hosting edition's semifinals, Sophia once again came to the courtyard to cook for me. She seemed anxious and stopped hemming and hawing about favors. Instead, she came out straight. "Ethan, I really need this opportunity. Lila has more internship chances at Shinchin TV than I do. Can you help me? You're not my girlfriend, so why would I help you? Sophia, we're all adults. You don't think sleeping with someone a few times obligates them to be responsible, do you? I calmly finished the spicy chicken she'd made and looked up coldly. Cooking, cleaning, those things I can hire a maid for. It doesn't have to be you. Sophia's eyes widened in disbelief. She stammered for a long time before squeezing out a trembling voice. Why won't you accept me? Is there something wrong with me? In her last life, she never had to do anything. If she didn't like someone at work, she'd come to me, and a few tears would fix it. Now she'd humbled herself to pursue me. Months had passed. I'd taken my advantages and even put her to work like a maid, yet still wouldn't accept her. That kind of gap was beyond what she could bear. I looked deeply into her eyes, full of complicated emotions, and smiled. You're great, but I don't like you, so I won't accept you. Ethan, you'll regret this. Sophia slammed the door and left in a rage. She thought I would be like in my previous life. Whenever she got angry, I would use my connections to secure better opportunities for her. Too bad. The current her doesn't deserve even an extra glance from me. The next day, I changed the lock on the vintage courtyard and moved into an apartment near Vanguard Internet Company. On the day of the semifinals, Lila, with her steady professional performance, successfully won the hosting job for the new program. Sophia came running to me like a madwoman. I happened to have invited Lila, Mason, Ryan, and the others to dinner. She burst into the private room and raised her hand to slap me. I grabbed her wrist and scolded sharply. Sophia, what are you doing? If you want to go crazy, go home and go crazy. Ryan and the others were stunned, interrupting all at once. Ethan, you two are actually together? Why have you never mentioned it? Sophia's confession caused a school-wide commotion back then. You rejected her so thoroughly, we all thought it was over. You kept this secret so well, damn, you're impressive. I shoved Sophia off roughly and said coldly, I didn't accept her confession. I'm not with her. She's the one who kept pestering me. The place fell deathly silent. Color drained from Sophia's face, her eyes bloodshot. She ground her teeth and pointed at my nose, hurling insults. Ethan, you scumbag. Do you know how long I worked for that spot? You didn't help me, and you gave it to the person I hate most. Ethan, you're nothing but a beast. Sophia, your hard work was making Dylan breakfast every day, helping him rehearse, and still finding time to bother me. I scoffed, giving her some face by not mentioning she slept with him. At the mention of Dylan, Sophia's complexion went white and green in turns, her pupils constricting. So you didn't accept my pursuit because you knew about Dylan? Not only did I know you were seeing Dylan, I witnessed your confession to him. I knew you confessed to me as a punishment for losing to your roommate. I raised my hand in a please gesture, signaling her to leave. Ryan and the others suddenly learned the truth about her two-timing and gaped in shock. Sophia ran off. I thought that would be the end of it, and we'd have no more contact, but she soon gave me a huge surprise. Luckily, I had a backup plan. When my father Arthur called me home, I still didn't know Sophia had come calling. Opening the door and seeing her, I immediately darkened and asked angrily, How did you get to my house? Who told you our address? In this life, I had never introduced her to my family, nor given her our address. She must have realized without me, she couldn't get into Starshine TV before graduation, so she panicked. Ethan, we've been living together for months. If I'm not your girlfriend, then what am I? Sophia looked at me with wounded eyes, shattered expression. My mother Margaret had liked Sophia very much in her previous life, finding her clever, spirited, and pretty. And in this life, she felt a strong liking for her at first sight as well. Hearing Sophia's accusation, she didn't ask anything and immediately started scolding me. Ethan, where is your upbringing? You let a young girl live with you and don't even give her a proper status. You and your father's dignity are being thrown away by you. Father Arthur looked displeased too, but didn't dare to back me up. Who taught you to be so irresponsible? I've raised you to behave, and you've learned to be such a scoundrel. Mother cursed while reaching for the feathered duster hanging on the wall. I quickly held her hand down and looked at Sophia impassively. Sophia, when did we ever date? How would I not know? A flash of hurt crossed Sophia's eyes, and tears fell with a plop. Weren't we dating? You let me live in your place, and you introduced me to your classmates and friends. Sophia, you've been the one chasing me. I never agreed to be with you. Taking you to meet friends and classmates was just to make things lively. Letting you stay at my place was because you said you were afraid to stay in the dorm. I took pity on you. You have a boyfriend, and you still come to my parents' house. Are you pregnant and want me to take responsibility? I tore her mask off without mercy. Sophia was so shocked she forgot to cry. My parents' faces suddenly darkened, and there was a layer of deep disgust in their eyes when they looked at Sophia. Although our family isn't a political dynasty, we do have a lot of connections in the circle. Someone trying to attach herself to us just because she's pregnant, what kind of good person could she be? I looked at Sophia coldly and mercilessly shattered her dream of getting into Star TV through my parents. I don't know what your purpose is in getting close to me, but I don't like you. I never accepted your advances, and I never dated you. If you really are pregnant, wait until the month is further along and have an amniocentesis done. If the child is mine, I'll take responsibility. I'm not pregnant. Sophia covered her face and cried. If you won't date me, why did you have sex with me? I thought having sex meant being boyfriend and girlfriend. And you didn't have only me as a boyfriend. The night Dylan came back from Guangzhou City, you two were together. I couldn't bring myself to look at my parents' faces. On this matter, I hadn't acted very properly. Knowing Sophia had used me as a patsy to be with Dylan, I never intended to let her off. After she slept with Dylan, I stopped seeing her, and I even changed the lock on the vintage courtyard gate. Sophia cried for a while, then grabbed her bag with her head down and rose in a mess. I'm sorry, it's my fault, I'll leave. My parents watched me without a word. The feather duster in my mother's hand trembled with increasing force. At a crucial moment, I suddenly knelt down and admitted my mistake. I was wrong. Hit a little more lightly. You're an adult now. You should know what to do and what not to do. If this isn't handled properly, what a scandal it could cause. You should be aware of that. My father sighed and pulled my mother away from swinging the feather duster. From what I knew of Sophia, after taking such a loss with me, she'd definitely come after me again. But she moved faster than I expected and was thoroughly prepared. Looking at the photos she tossed in front of me of us together, I calmly lit a cigarette and, half smiling, asked, "Are you threatening me?" "This isn't a threat, it's a deal. Your father is the deputy director at Star TV and wants to move up. You can't afford to have any trouble." Sophia said coldly, calculation written all over the crescent moon curve of her smiling eyes. "You don't need me to tell you how you got into Star TV and became a host, right? How many people want to get into Star TV each year? You're a law graduate. Without your father, how would you meet Star TV's hiring requirements?" Smoke choked me, and I coughed hard, then couldn't help laughing out loud. She was far too conceited. Maybe my love for her in my previous life had given her the illusion that she was indispensable to me. After being reborn for so long, she hadn't even checked whether I actually got into Star TV. "Ethan, my demand isn't high. I just want your father to make a call so I can get in as a host at Star TV." Sophia looked at me arrogantly, her disdain plain to see. She tapped the table repeatedly, conveying her full impatience. "What if I refuse?" I stopped laughing and leaned back in the chair, relaxed. Sophia's biggest bargaining chip was these photos in her hand. I didn't know when she had someone take them. In this era, there were no smartphones, no social media, and call records on a pager couldn't prove anything. After all, she was the one who confessed first and kept pestering me. And I had never introduced her as my girlfriend in front of anyone I knew. The atmosphere gradually froze. My confidence and indifference cracked Sophia's composure a bit. She finally started to get nervous, her hands twisting together unconsciously. "Sophia, these photos you have can't prove we dated. And I can find plenty of witnesses to show that you've been the one harassing me," I said. "Do you really think accusing me and jeopardizing my father's career is that naive? Besides, when did I ever tell you I worked at Star TV?" I played with a lighter in my hand, a great wave of sorrow welling up inside. In my last life, my love for her was real. The pain of discovering she loved someone else, of being diminished, and even of her killing herself for true love was real. Reborn, I originally only wanted to stay away from her and choose my life path anew. She came to entangle me, so the rules of the game should naturally be set by me. When it came to this confrontation, I didn't really feel much satisfaction in revenge. People always romanticize paths they didn't take. She thought she could control everything, keep her career and true love, but she completely forgot. Rebirth is both an opportunity and the greatest variable. After a long silence, Sophia suddenly looked up, her voice trembling uncontrollably. "Ethan, you were reborn too, weren't you?" "Reborn what?" I feigned surprise, stopping my movement and frowning as if puzzled. "Like died and came back? What are you trying to say?" "What we're discussing now is that your so-called evidence poses no threat to me, so stop wasting your efforts." Sophia stared at me and suddenly laughed. "You'll only know if it's useless after you try. Ethan, you shouldn't have given my chance to Lila. That chance was never yours, and I never interfered with the host selection for Lila, because I never even joined Star TV." I scoffed, lit another cigarette, and looked at her with a half-smile. I was just doing unpaid work for my childhood friend Mason. In my previous life, Sophia had been brought into Star TV by Lila when she graduated college. Whether I went straight into Star TV after graduating at my father's arrangement, we had never actually talked about that. "How could you not have joined Star TV?" Sophia's voice shot up. Since entering the room, she'd positioned herself as the one in control. Now she completely fell apart. She pointed at me hysterically, trembling all over. "No, nothing's right. You were supposed to fall in love with me at graduation. I confessed first. You should have loved me more. Why didn't you accept me? Ethan, why don't you love me?" I rose slowly, looking down at her with disdain. "Sophia, since you know my father is the deputy director of Star TV, you should know your confession looked more like a scheme to me. You don't love me. You just wanted to use my connections to achieve your goals. I'm not that outstanding, but I'm no fool. Goodbye." I walked out of the private room without looking back. The past faded like dust. My life was only just setting sail. After the showdown, Sophia didn't come looking for me again. I contacted Jake, retrieved all the film, and even bought out and deleted the images from the digital camera issued by his workplace. If Sophia had been even a little sober-minded, she would have understood that she still had a chance to appear on screen and become a famous host. Taking a short wrong turn isn't that serious. But I didn't expect her to actually report my father Arthur and Lila. She didn't believe I hadn't gotten into Star TV. In my last life, my father, as deputy director of Star TV, had no trouble arranging for his own son to get in. There were countless other connections at the station, just like mine. This life, though, I didn't join Star TV. After graduating, I went into business with my childhood friend Mason and started Pioneer Internet Company. Star TV took the report seriously. After an internal investigation, they found it was false, and Lila's job wasn't affected, but my father was still called in for questioning. The station hoped my father would rein me in to prevent me from making a bigger mess later. In the end, Margaret's feathered duster fell on me. When Mason came to see me, he suppressed his laughter for a long while before he couldn't hold it in. A hard lesson learned. Good thing you didn't agree to date her. A girl who acts so calculating is kind of scary. She was indeed scary. I stayed in the hospital for 2 days. After my injuries healed, I had someone send all the photos of me and Sophia to Dylan. But Sophia went around spreading rumors that Lila was the other woman, and Lila was once again pushed into the public eye. I reached out to Lila, and we went to confront Sophia together. Lila is excellent, but she's not my type. She took part in the host auditions without any interference from me. The judges gave her high scores out of respect for my father, but there was no concrete evidence. Mason insisted on coming along just to watch the show. When we arrived, Sophia and Dylan were in the middle of a breakup scene under the dormitory. Seeing Lila and me together, she snapped on the spot. "Lila, you claim you're innocent, but you show up with Ethan. How innocent of you." Everyone look. Lila is the other woman. She stole what? Dylan is your boyfriend. Sophia, if you're not thinking straight, go wash your brain. I cut her off irritably and shot back loudly. I'll say it again. I never agreed to date you. You were never my girlfriend. Don't go biting everyone just because Dylan broke up with you. The onlookers didn't expect all the people involved in the rumors to show up. They looked at Sophia with contempt, pointing and whispering. Lila snorted and retorted coldly. Sophia, are you sick? Your boyfriend is Dylan. The whole journalism department knows how sweet you two were. You dated Dylan while pursuing Ethan on the side. Ethan never agreed to date you. On what basis do you call me the other woman? Mason chimed in to back us up. I can vouch. Ethan never agreed to date Sophia. She had a boyfriend and still pestered Ethan. That's truly shameless. Dylan looked at me deeply, then said to Sophia with finality, Sophia, we're breaking up. I won't have a girlfriend who's unfaithful. Sophia couldn't take the blow. She had a hypoglycemic episode and fainted, and her friend Chloe Davis rushed her to the campus clinic. After making sure she was okay, I invited Mason and Lila to go eat in her last life. Sophia's goal was very clear. She had to become a host at Star TV. Even though she loved Dylan deeply, she never dared confess to him. Dylan had signed with a Hangzhou talent agency back then and was exploited for years until he finally terminated his contract and came back in 2005. By that time, my first child with Sophia was already 4. When Sophia saw the news of Dylan's release from his contract, she only said, "What a pity." I didn't think much of it at the time. Later, after reading her diary, I learned that what she regretted was not being bold or ruthless enough. She could have confessed to Dylan and been with him, then used my connections to secure a place at Star TV. So after her rebirth, she decided to live for herself once, but she didn't understand how. In this still relatively conservative era, Sophia's campus belle image was completely ruined because of the affair. She developed depression and took a leave of absence. The school didn't punish Sophia, but her future dimmed. My Vanguard Internet company happened to catch the wave when the internet officially opened to the general public and took off smoothly. Sophia vanished from my life completely. A few years later, I met a girl who truly loved me. After a year of dating, we happily registered our marriage. On the day of the wedding, Lila, who had become a popular star at Star TV and was hosting my wedding, told me Sophia had gone crazy. She kept muttering something about rebirth and picked wrong, and she even asked Lila what I meant. Probably dreaming. How could someone come back to life? At most, she feels she made the wrong choices and wishes to start over. I smiled, looking at the woman I loved with gentle eyes. The ceremony's about to start, big host. Go get ready. Now I have the confidence to try and err. Even if I make the wrong choice again, I have the courage to start over.